Yup. I want to talk about the Dragon Dogma 2 situation because it's pretty bad. It's pretty rough in a lot of areas. Mainly, there's so many problems with Dragon Dogma. You know, frame rate, frame rate is the biggest issue to me. Obviously, microtransactions, the save files. The issue is like the biggest problem with Dragon Dogma is it's actually a good game. And that's what sucks. If you're a Dragon Dogma 2 fan and you're enjoying the game, which a lot of people are, that's what's bad about Dragon Dogma launch is that it's a good game covered in fucking bad decisions. So many bad decisions is stopping Dragon Dogma from being one of the best games of this generation. Everything the game offers, combat, art, enemies, crafting. I don't really care for the story that much. But what Dragon Dogma is amazing. But then you just got everything going wrong with it. And I get it. People are like, should these things stop you from buying the game? I would honestly tell, if someone told me, hey, should I get Dragon Dogma 2? I would tell them to wait till the game is in a good state. Because I wouldn't tell them not to buy it. I would tell them to wait. Because nothing's wrong with Dragon Dogma. I still think, is it worth $70? Not at launch. A lot of people are like, oh, Dragon Dogma is not worth $70. At launch, it's not worth. At launch, it's Helldivers is a better game than Dragon Dogma 2 at launch. But if Dragon Dogma 2 is what it's going to be when it's fixed, it's worth $70. If it has 60 frames, if it had multiple saves, if it had no microtransactions, and then not even that, if they didn't have a shit ton of them, the game would have been fine. It would have been fine, but it's making so many bad decisions. PC is unplayable. And then you got this big ass, what's it called? You got this big ass argument between people who are loving the game and then people who are hating it. And you got people who love the game saying, hey, just play the game. How you gonna play a game that's unplayable? Even in my playthrough of me playing the game, I have I probably have 40 hours in Dragon Dogma. The only reason I have that many hours is because I am ignoring a lot of issues in this game. And I can say that honestly, as someone who likes the game, I rate the game high. I give Dragon Dogma like a 9 out of 10. But realistically, if I didn't ignore all the problems it had, it's easily a 7 out of 10. If I people praise the combat in Dragon Dogma, for instance, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't see that the microtransactions, the frame rate, the save files, they're all blocking things that are actually wrong with the game in general. The dogs, when you're fighting dogs and you get stun locked into 6 dogs attacking you all at once, that's not enjoyable. That's frustrating. Like I said, I didn't say this in gameplay, but one of my favorite things, I have way more fun fighting a boss or a bigger enemy than I have fun fighting orcs or lions. Wolves. I have way more fun fighting anything with difficulty than fighting harpies. Harpies are okay. I don't mind the sleeping stuff, but when you can't reach them, like you see here, I have no way to reach this. That's because I didn't unlock the move yet where you fly in the sky to hit them down. I do get it sooner or later. But even when you have that, it's inconsistent. And you got to spam jump to hit it. But the game is good. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, what? They had the hype. Ever since Dragon Dogma 2 was announced, the hype for it was 10 out of 10. Everybody who's touched anything with a sword and a shield in a video game was excited. The Witcher fans, the Elden Ring, the Dragon Dogma, the Lord of the Rings, the Game of Thrones fans, general gamer fans was excited for this game. You had everybody on board after 12 years. And I was wondering, like, I know you have deadlines for a game, but if it took 12 years for you to get a sequel, why release the game in the state it's in? This is me trying to test out that shield thing. I understand that, like, what's the point? It took 12 years to drop. You, we could have waited another year. You could have let it cook a lot longer. The thing is, like, I don't get what's going on with games. A lot of people are like, $70. I heard a video. I watched a video that said $70 for a game is ridiculous. And he showed all the games. He showed a lot of games that are worth $70. Is the thing. He showed Dragon Dogma, Jedi Survivor. He showed Far Cry 6. I don't think Far Cry 6 is a good game. That's just me personally, but it is worth $70. But he showed a lot of games that are worth it. The problem is that they're not worth $70 at launch. A lot of games are not bad games. No, Dragon Dogma is not a bad game. It has a shitty ass launch. 2 years, I mean not 2 years from now, maybe 4 months from now, Dragon Dogma would be in the state it should have been at launch. Maybe they'll add a 60 frames consistently update. Do I think they will? Probably not. Capcom, I mean, I know they hear all this backlash, and gaming companies in general, unless they're like rare, they don't really fix the game. A lot of games just leave it in the state they in. They don't leave in the state they in, but they will take their time. They will take their time. A lot of games will take their time, especially games that don't have nothing to prove. Like especially Capcom. Like Capcom Street Fighter. I don't know if you play Street Fighter, but Street Fighter is another game where it's like you had a good game, everybody loved it, and then you didn't do nothing with it for like almost a whole year. For a whole year, Street Fighter fans were just playing the same game, no skins. We had 2 characters in almost a whole year, which is insane. And that's all we had. There was no world tour updates. There was no color customization. They just dropped the game and left. Same thing with another game, Starfield. Starfield had a rough launch, and they took their sweet time fixing it. And still to this day, Starfield doesn't have any dramatic updates. The fact that they haven't added in a mech or a vehicle after this much time is insane. They just let these games sit. Redfall. Like, Redfall's another game. Like, do I think Redfall was worth 70? No. I don't know how much Redfall was, but it wasn't 70. But Redfall, you had all the Left 4 Dead, all the World War Z, you had all the Back 4 Blood fans, and a lot of Xbox fans ready for this game to drop on Game Pass, and then drops and it's a shitty ass launch and it's unplayable. So it's I don't know what games are doing now, because every game that drops, even Rise of Ronin that just dropped at the same day as Dragon Dogma, Rise of Ronin has had a lot of people's attention. Every game is having everyone's attention. Hey, look at me. I'm about to drop. We're a Game of the Year contender. They drop and they just fucking fail. I don't know what the issue is with it. You would think that these games would be like, oh, we caught lightning in a bottle. Let's not let it go. And that's what Dragon Dogma is in a nutshell. We caught lightning in a bottle. Now we're gonna let it go. On their own self-sabotaging. But a lot of people, at the end of the day, should you get Dragon Dogma? No. You should wait for it to get fixed. And another thing, a lot of people are like, oh, if you think 30 frames per second is what makes Dragon Dogma bad, no. I think it's ridiculous that when someone says, I have a problem, that's a genuine problem with a game, and then someone tells you that you should ignore it for you to enjoy the game. I think that's the stupidest thing to say. Like when someone says, "Hey, I'm not getting Dragon Dogma because it's 30 frames," I think that's the most realistic thing to be like, "Oh, you don't want to spend $70 on 30 frames games? That's fair." That doesn't stop me from buying it. I don't mind 30. I recognize 30. Like in this game, I think 30 is terrible, but I ignore it because I don't. I ignore it because the game is cool when you do. But I don't think anybody should have to ignore 30 frames per second on a $70 game in 2024 on a PS5, PC, or Xbox Series S. Same thing with Rise of Ronin. People are like, "Oh, you're just crying about the graphics." It's like, is that? It's not like the game is good. It's not like the game has good graphics. Rise of Ronin has bad graphics, and the art style is okay. It's not like it has crazy art style. One of my favorite games that dropped last year was Remnant 2. Remnant 2 didn't have the craziest graphics, but they had 10 out of 10 art style. Another game that dropped that I didn't like, I don't like, it's this game called Lords of the Fallen. It's a 30 out of 10 art style. One of my, I think probably the best art style in the Souls like, but they didn't have crazy graphics. Lords of the Fallen doesn't look like God of War Ragnarok or Elden Ring or Forbidden or what's it called, Horizon Forbidden West, but Rise of Ronin doesn't have art style. So it's like people have reasons not to get games, and I'm a big fan that you should not have to ignore a reason to get a game. If you think that a game, if someone says, "Hey, there's a problem in this game," and you say, "I don't want it because of that one problem," that's completely valid. Games are $70, and games are dropping a lot and fast. That's not cheap. For instance, someone could say, "Hey, 30 frames is bad in Dragon Dogma. I'll save my money and get Stellar Blade." That's completely fair. Not everybody should be buying. I don't even buy every $70 game because I don't think I should. I'll only buy games that I'm super interested in. I'll try them out if they have a demo, and then if I like it, I'll buy it. But like Stellar Blade, I don't plan on playing Stellar Blade because it's not my type of game. It's just not my type of game. I'm not. If if it was my type of game, I probably would have bought it. But you know, Dragon Dogma 2, it sucks to see because if you're loving this game, like me, you can't defend it. I don't think anybody can defend the launch of Dragon Dogma 2. The case is that if you like it, play the game. If you think it's bad or if you think it's the state of it is messed up, you're completely right. I mean, your opinion is your opinion, but you definitely should not have to buy a game because, like I said, if you think 30 frames is bad, it's terrible in this game. Like it's not like Starfield level 30. This game doesn't even feel like 30 frames. It feels like 25. Yeah, and that's like if you think 30 frames is bad, don't get the game. Don't get the game if you think the one save file is bad because I think that's stupid as fuck too. The fact that I can't make multiple characters, but you want to lock me into certain story stuff is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense to do that. How are we supposed to? You're limiting creativity. You're limiting runs. You're limiting players finding out what's possible in video games by only one save. There's just certain things in the game where it's like, Dragon Dogma, why do this? Why do that? Why do this? Why do that? And that's all I really got to say, man. Dragon Dogma has a terrible launch, but it's Dragon Dogma is a good game. If you like it, if you're willing to ignore 30 frames, which is crazy to say in 2024, if you're willing to ignore 30 frames in 2024, get the game. If you're not, then don't buy it because I think 30 frames is unacceptable in 2024. But I still bought the game. I don't regret my purchase. Actually, that's a hard thing to say Because I've been thinking about that. Do I regret my purchase of Dragon Dogma 2? And it's like, I don't regret it because it's not a bad game. I just wish I would have. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say I regret. Regret's a harsh word to say. Regret. Do I really regret Dragon Dogma? I don't regret it. It's more like I would have waited. Yeah, that's it. I regret buying it on launch. That's my biggest regret. I've never been, I would have just waited until people are like, all right, we got some consistent frame rate. Capcom has thought about adding more save files. Capcom is making the right change. We were fixing stun hit on 6 wolves at one time. I don't regret my purchase, but I would have waited. I would have waited any amount of time. Because the longer I play Dragon Dogma, the more and more it's like, why the fuck isn't this game perfect? Because it's really self-sabotaging, which sucks. It's not a case like Redfall. It's not a case like Starfield. Like, Starfield had its own problems. What Starfield wasn't a good game. What Forspoken wasn't a good game. What Redfall wasn't a good game. What Dragon Dogma is a good game that is like, it's forcing itself not to be good. It's literally a good game that's like, we don't want to be good though. You know, we don't want to be great. We don't want to win. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Fix the frame rate. Or add a multiple save file. And it's not like they need it tomorrow. I don't think anybody thinks, hey, we're going to fix 60 frames tomorrow. All it takes is Capcom, we're working on it. That's all it takes. All Capcom has to do is say, hey, 60 frames per second, we're working on it. Multiple save files, we're working on it. Fixing stun hit in the game, we're working on it. That's all you have to do is tell the people, hey, we're working on it. But it sucks. It sucks. If you're a Dragon Dogma 2 fan, enjoy the game. If you're not, I can't defend it. But that's it. Peace. I'm seeing the video and goodbye.